And oftentimes we get so focused on the failure that we're not looking for the opportunity. We're not looking for the evolution. We're not looking for the new idea.
Hi, my name's Devin. Today I own several multi-million-dollar companies. We started with $5,000 in a credit card. I don't know the easy way. I only know the hard way.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Whiteboard Entrepreneur Podcast, where I give straightforward advice to fuel the entrepreneur in all of us. I'm Devin Dickinson. Today I want to talk to you about how some of your best ideas might just be hiding behind your biggest failures or mistakes or bad ideas, if you will. And so someone taught me this lesson at a seminar I went to long ago. And I was like, man, I wrote that down and I thought, wow, that is so true in my life. And as I've looked and reflected back on my life, I can see the evolution of, these great ideas that I have now that started off kind of as failures or ideas that didn't work or never launched or just didn't quite make it. And the reason I think this is so important, and I wrote it down and I started pondering, is because I realized that I'm still there in my life, right? This isn't something that happens, when you're 20, you have a bad idea and eventually you evolve it into something, a good idea later on when you're 30 or 40, but this is something that happens our entire life, right? And so now I began to put this pressure on myself that you can only launch, you can only, start something new if you're absolutely 100% confident it's going to work. And I've realized that I'm nothing I've ever done has been that way. And so having the confidence now in myself to say, hey, even if this is a failure, even if this is, I go and do this project and it goes nowhere, I bet you it turns over a stone that finds another opportunity, that creates a new idea, that bursts something exciting and new. And I know this because going back in history, all of my successes have been that way. And one of my first companies I ever started evolved from the idea that I was going to sell defibrillators. And this will take me back in time, probably about 23 years or so. And I had this idea because they had just deregulated defibrillators that I was going to be the person that was going to sell them all over the country. I was going to be this giant distributor of defibrillators. Wow, that's a mouthful. Distributor of defibrillators. Anyways, that was my idea. And it was a decent idea, right? You think, oh, that's great. I see them all everywhere now. They're in every school, at Disneyland, at the bowling alley, wherever you go, you see defibrillators. Well, that was my vision that I had, but it took 23 years to get there because 23 years ago, ain't nobody buying them, right? It just wasn't happening. And so I had this idea. It was a good idea, but frankly, it was a failure. But that idea took me to my first big success, which was a compliance and safety company. See, I started off with defibrillators and it evolved into something. The good idea was hiding behind my failure. I would have never, ever, ever in a million years, I wasn't in this industry. I wasn't thinking about this. I would have never come up with this idea, this product, had I not first failed with my defibrillator idea. Another one of my companies today is very successful, but it morphed from a former company. You see, I had a company that did lead generation for other companies, and it was a good company, but it wasn't growing the way I wanted it to. And frankly, it was just basically paying its own bills. But as I looked at that company and I examined it, I was very happy that I had it. I wished that we had been making more money. I wished that it had been profitable because some years we'd actually lose a little bit of money. Other years we'd make money, but more or less we were breaking even. But I knew that it could evolve into something. And so rather than go, hey, this isn't worth my time and I'm shutting it down, I just worked on it and I worked on it and I worked on it for years. And it was just kind of, like I said, just kind of floating around here. And then one day I had another idea and I was finally able to evolve what was, I'm going to basically say it wasn't a failure, but it certainly wasn't a success. I was able to evolve it into one of my most thriving companies I've ever had that's grown like absolute crazy. But I could have never done this new company if I didn't foundationally have the company to evolve it into. And so it was patience. It was looking for the new opportunity, and it wasn't throwing something on the garbage heap. It wasn't throwing it in the dumpster just because it wasn't doing exactly what I wanted it to do. I knew that there was a good idea right behind that opportunity. There was another story I'll tell you where I actually invested a bunch of money into a startup because I really believed in this person and their idea, and I really enjoyed working with this person. And man, we went for it. I put money in, we put more money in, we put a bunch of work into it. We probably put a year and a half, 2 years worth of work, and honestly, it just wasn't going anywhere. And so we were like, hey, no problem. But you know what I did gain out of that was that particular person. That particular person that I invested in their company, I kept a great relationship with that person. And I took that person and I put them into one of my other companies. And that person was so talented that they came up with this brilliant idea that we applied into these other companies and became a raging success. So it's like, wow, like, had I not lost money on a company that was a failure, I would have lost the opportunity to invest in this person who became an incredible asset for our other companies. And that great idea, that great opportunity was hiding right behind the failure. And oftentimes we get so focused on the failure that we're not looking for the opportunity. We're not looking for the evolution. We're not looking for the new idea that's right hiding behind that potential failure. I would finally say in closing that this podcast right here, like if you go and you look on YouTube, you're going to find probably some old videos of me doing some stupid stuff that you're like, wow, that was pretty terrible, right? And it wasn't very successful. I tried doing stuff like this before. I tried doing like YouTube stuff. And anyways, I realized that there was something there, but the timing wasn't right. I wasn't working with the right people. I didn't have my head in the right space, and the idea hadn't evolved. And so this, what I believe is a great idea for a podcast, and I really enjoy doing it, and I'm fulfilled, and I hope you are fulfilled, and I hope you're gaining something from this. This podcast is an evolution of a bad idea that I had. And so these great ideas, these great opportunities, they're just right there behind that failure. And so we as entrepreneurs, as leaders, we have to not get so wrapped up in, the failure of it and let our self-esteem get so destroyed that we don't have good ideas or that things that we try don't work. But we look and we decide, how do we evolve it? What's the opportunity here? What have we learned? What are the assets that we've gained from this? What can we now use maybe in this perceived failure as a new evolution of our company, of our life, of our idea, of our product, of our people? Wherever we're going, there is always opportunity in these failures. This is tough, right? It's hard because we do get focused on the failure. We get wrapped up in it. But our job is to rise above it and have the wisdom and discernment to be able to find that seed, that nugget, that opportunity. I'm Devin. This is a Whiteboard Entrepreneur. And I know if you put these things we talked about today into practice and you apply them to your business and your life, it's going to help you succeed. I'm Devin. This is Whiteboard Entrepreneur.